We are roughly 1 year away from the 2026 World Cup, which is only one full spin around the moon. And the closer we get, the less likely it is for us to have any surprises in the US men's national team roster. However, considering the current state of the national team and that we still have 4 camps prior to the World Cup, there are some decent odds that a few players that we do not expect to make it right now could make it then. So who are they? Hello. If you're new here, I'm Filippo and welcome to Tactical Manager TV. Today I want to go through 4 players that we don't expect to make the World Cup roster, but they could. And I know that doesn't make much sense because you're probably saying, if no one expects them to make the roster, how the heck are they going to make the roster? That's the point of this video. Right now, they're not expected to do so. But 1 year from now, if you really think about it, it could happen. Trust me. Now understand that for a player to make it to this video, they must have never been called in by Pochettino, or they must have not have been called in on a regular basis for quite some time. If a player has been injured and out of the national team for like a year, like Serginho Dest, they still don't qualify for this video because that's a player that is expected to make it to the roster. We did a full 2026 World Cup roster prediction video earlier this week, and all the players that are in that video cannot be in this video. The ones I didn't mention in that video can be in this one. Like for example, Agyemang. You probably don't expect Agyemang to be there. I hope he doesn't make it to the World Cup. But if he does, we cannot put him on the unexpected player category. He literally just started every single game for the US men's national team in the Gold Cup. So if Pochettino calls him up, it shouldn't be a surprise to you. Now, he may fall in the undeserving category. He might not deserve to be there, but Agyemang, Sebastian Berhalter, Arfsten, Alex Freeman, any of these players that you think won't be in the World Cup roster but were in the Gold Cup, they cannot be in the unexpected category. Capiche? And every single time we have a World Cup, there's always 1 or 2 surprises that make the roster either last minute or like 1 or 2 camps prior to the World Cup. So it can happen. Let me know in the comment section down below any players that are not expected to be there or haven't been called in by Pochettino, but you think will be there a year from now. Don't forget to drop a like in this video before we start. I probably won't be requesting during it, and it helps the channel a lot and it makes me happy, and I thank you very much for it. All right, let's roll the intro and let's start the episode. Player number 1 is a 28-year-old goalkeeper that plays for Cesena in the 2nd division of Italy, and his name is Jonathan Klinsman, the son of Jurgen Klinsman, the former US national team head coach. Now, I was a bit conflicted about adding this player specifically because I didn't really watch him play in the 2nd division of Italy last season. I watched highlights, and I've heard reports from Italy and from US men's national team accounts saying he played very well, but I didn't really track him last season. That's why I was conflicted in terms of adding him to this video or not. However, our goalkeeper position is ass. So to think that he could make it as a 3rd goalkeeper, I think that might be possible. It's not too crazy, even though, as I said, this video is about unexpected players. And, Jonathan Klinsman making it to the World Cup roster, right now, it's very much unexpected and unlikely. He started last season as a backup in the Serie B, and he became a starter at some point in the first half of the season, and he never lost a starting position since. Also, keep in mind that he's a 28-year-old goalkeeper, and his career has been very meh or kind of bad so far. He's played a few games with the LA Galaxy and MLS here and there. Last season was the first time he actually stood out in his professional career in the 2nd division of Italy in this case. He was with the US men's national team youth setup in many different age groups, and he was even called in for the US senior team for a friendly camp back in late 2018. Now listen, Jurgen Klinsman, his dad, recently had an interview on CBS, and this is what he had to say. Now Serie A teams are watching him. Even Bundesliga teams are watching him when referring to his son. And his dream is obviously getting back into the national team picture, Jurgen Klinsman added. Hopefully, Mauricio Pochettino has an eye on him too. I'm sure that he looks around now everywhere to put his puzzle together. So if Jurgen said that, that means Jonathan Klinsman is most certainly eyeing a return for the US men's national team to play in the World Cup. Now, is he an unexpected player? For sure. We'll see his level. I'll keep track of him this season on the U.S. Men's National Team Abroad series, but that's player number 1. And some of you are going to say, what about Diego Kochen? I think he's too young. He would be an unexpected player, in my opinion, but I think he's too young, and I don't think Kochen will make the World Cup roster unless Pochettino brings him as a third goalkeeper just for the experience. Player number 2, and boy, this one's gonna piss a few people off. It's gonna make you grind your teeth and have nightmares for roughly 1 week, maybe even longer. Player number 2 is Lucho Aosta, that plays in Major League Soccer for FC Dallas, the 31-year-old attacking midfielder. And before I even start talking about this one, I just want to say one thing. Where there is smoke, there's fire. And let me explain what's going on here. So Aosta is actually not eligible to play for the U.S. Men's National Team at the time of this recording. He is in the process of getting his U.S. citizenship. Once that is set, the 31-year-old attacking midfielder would be eligible to represent Argentina and the United States. But he's not good enough to represent Argentina. So the only option would be the United States. And you may be wondering, you idiot, why are you talking about a player that's not even eligible to play for the United States? Right now, he couldn't even do it. So why are you talking about it? And I may be an idiot, but I have a point. Well, it has been reported, even during the Berhalter era, that there was interest on bringing him to the U.S. Men's National Team. And around June of this year, Tom Bogert reported the following. U.S. Men's National Team manager Mauricio Pochettino is at the Toyota Stadium to watch FC Dallas versus the San Jose Earthquakes. Lucho Aosta is in the process of getting his citizenship and would be eligible for a call-up as his plan. Lucho starts, Pochettino is watching, the two have spoken. And Tom Bogert is reliable and a mouthpiece for Major League Soccer. Get what I'm saying? So again, where there is smoke, there is fire. He's also from Argentina, so is Pochettino. I could see a scenario where Lucho Aosta makes it to the United States World Cup roster. Now, just to make one thing clear, Acosta's level this season has dropped quite a bit, especially compared to the previous 2 years in MLS, but he could still make the roster if Pochettino's in charge, which he will be for the 2026 World Cup. Don't get pissed off at me, that's not what I want. Again, I'm making a video on unexpected players. He would be unexpected to make the roster, but I mean, it would be unexpected because the guy's not even American right now, right? He doesn't even have the citizenship, but it could happen. Player number 3 is Noah Kai Banks, the 18-year-old center back that plays for Augsburg in the Bundesliga. And understand, I kind of mentioned him in the prediction video because the odds of him going, it might actually be realistic. The problem is center backs take much longer to develop, and he's only 18. But last season, he got a few games here and there for Augsburg in the Bundesliga, and he never looked out of place. He's a very good ball-playing defender. He's good on the ball. He can dribble into space. He can pick a pass, and he's a good defender. He has a lot to develop, and that's why I don't think he might have enough time to play in the 2026 World Cup. 2030, he's probably a lock as long as he continues to develop very slowly. 2026 might be tough. The only scenario that I see him making the roster is 1, if he becomes a regular starter in the Bundesliga, and 2, if Pochettino grows some big balls, like massive balls, so big that he might even need to go to the doctor to get them checked because they're so huge. He would need big balls to bring an 18 or 19-year-old center back at the time of the World Cup. Probably not to play. He won't bring him just for experience. We talked about this in the other video. So he would have to be a starter in the Bundesliga, and Pochettino would have to grow some big balls to bring in the young player. Now, right now, obviously, it's unexpected because he's not a locked-in starter in the Bundesliga. But if he is, his odds to make it to the World Cup roster will grow every single month that goes on throughout the season. He's actually a player in this video that I don't expect to be in the World Cup roster, but I hope he makes it. Last but not least, we have player number 4. Leonard Maloney, the 25-year-old defensive midfielder that plays for Mainz in the Bundesliga. And if you made it this far in the video, don't forget to drop a like if you haven't already. So Maloney actually only has 2 caps for the United States, and they were back in 2023, none of them under Mauricio Pochettino, of course, which makes him an unexpected player to make it to the 2026 World Cup roster. He was a regular Bundesliga starter for Heidenheim for, I believe, 2 or 1.5 seasons after they got promoted, and then he moved to Mainz in January of 2025, mid-season. And since he hasn't really played much for them, he became a backup that barely gets minutes, but that was a mid-season move. We have to see how Maloney does this year. If he's playing regularly for Mainz, he could have a shot at making it to the US men's national team. He's not a brilliant player by any means, but he does have some fight in him, and that is something that we have said that the United States does need. And he also brings some versatility. He can play as a defensive mid, he can play as a fullback, he can even play as a center back if you need. However, he's not great on the ball. But again, some of the players we've been bringing in, they're not good on the ball as well. We do have a ton of depth in the midfield, so I find it very unlikely that Leonard Maloney will make it, but he's versatile, he's got that fight in him, and he's playing in a top 5 league. So it's unexpected that he'll make the roster, but he could make the roster. He's an intriguing player, to say the least. Now, a few players that I want to just give a shout out and kind of debunk. I want to mention them very quickly. One, people are going to say, what about Kevin Sullivan? Listen, I watched him play a full game in MLS. He's not even ready for MLS right now. He's a kid. He's 15, turns 16 very soon. Kevin Sullivan is not making the 2026 roster unless we bring him for marketing or just for the kid to be there and gain experience. The other one would be maybe Cole Campbell. That's with Borussia Dortmund. I doubt it. I don't find it likely. If you look at our winger options that Pochettino has, unless Cole Campbell is starting in the Bundesliga scoring goals, I don't see it happening, and he would probably have to get a loan. He's not going to play much for Dortmund. The other one is a fair shout. It would be Kevin Paredes. He's been injured for quite some time, so he hasn't really been in camp with Mauricio Pochettino. Kevin Paredes is a weird one because he hasn't been in camp with Pochettino, but him making the roster wouldn't be too crazy. He can play as a left back, he can play as a winger, and he has played in the Bundesliga quite a bit for Wolfsburg and looked fairly competent. So Kevin Paredes was a player I was conflicted into adding or not into this video, and I ended up not adding him because I don't think him making the roster would be considered unexpected, as long as he's healthy. But that's it for today, everyone. Don't forget to drop a like before you go, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. Your players that you don't expect to make the roster right now, but could a year from now. I want to thank you all very much for watching, and have a great day.